WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore.
Y'all can hear fine. Y'all can hear fine. Yes. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday, folks. It's November 26th, and you're here with us at the SWAYNEE Queen Show. Want to make sure that we just say a special thanks out for getting us here this morning, man. Just making sure that we got here on time, and I just appreciate it. Just thank God for getting us another weekend. We want to give a special thanks to all the sponsors of the SWAYNEE Queen Show today. We want to give a special thanks to Maryland Premier Tag and Title. We also want to give a special thanks to Queen's Quality Painting, Denmark Vintage Brand, and GYSRF. That's Get You Some Rich Friends clothing brand. Make sure you guys go check them out. Happy Sunday, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just kind of hanging in there. You know, we got to go back to school tomorrow, so.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
We got a special guest in the house, a good friend of the SWAYNEE Queen Show. Has been here a couple times. Big Rel's in the house. Give it up for him.
How y'all doing?
All right. What's going on, man? How's life coming over there?
Hey, it's going.
Well, welcome, man. We love having you here.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate you coming through. So this past week, we've been talking about all this month. If you guys have been tuning in, and to all the listeners there, make sure that you chime in as well. You can reach us on 410-481-1010 anytime during the course of this next half an hour. The lines will be open, 410-481-1010. Also, we're live streaming. Sway, tell them where we're live streaming at, bud.
We're live streaming on 410.SWAYNEE_. You can also find us on YouTube at The SWAYNEE Queen Show, or, as you said before, on the radio at 10:10 a.m.
That's right. There we go. So, so we were talking about all this month, man. It's been a Men's Health Awareness Month, a Men's Health...
Men's Mental Health Awareness.
Thank you, mental. Yeah, thanks for getting it together. Men's Mental Health Awareness. And I was looking, of course, at just different things within, on YouTube and social media during the course of this week. And football has been the topic for most of the month, sports-wise. A lot of different things going on in the sports world. And it just made me think just about how quickly change comes in the sports world, right? You guys know it. You guys are athletes and everything like that. You aspire to get to the next level, right? NFL for you, MLB, or whatever else that might come along with soccer, or whatever the case is. But change happens real quickly. Even the life expectancy of someone in the league is very, very short. You got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be on your game. And it just makes me feel like, what happens to the mindset of a guy who comes in, gets drafted, is the talk of the league, gets injured, right? Has an unfortunate situation happen. And then the chatter's gone.
Yeah.
Where's the mindset at? I start thinking about how you guys are, within your high school levels. You're trying to go to the next stage and everything like that. You just recently came over an injury, but I saw you kind of go through your mental changes. You know what I'm saying? You were in your head about, am I going to be able to make it? Will this recovery come and happen? Things of that sort. So I just wanted to kind of open up and talk about that for a moment. What happens with the mindset when things change within your path, within your goal that you're trying to do, especially with something that you love? Like, one, how do you handle it? And two, has it ever happened? Well, one, has it ever happened to you? Two, how do you handle it?
Especially for me.
Yeah.
Overcoming the injury, it was in like the peak of the season, like peak of my recruiting process.
Sure.
Like the springtime is when like all the coaches started to come out for tournaments.
Yep.
And that kind of like hit me. It hit me hard because at first, like, my thought process was like, "Oh, I'll be back in like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
It'll be cool." I was off for the rest of the season from January to June. I didn't get fully back into where I needed to be until the end of May, which was when the season was over already.
Okay.
I had no games, I had no practice, I had nothing like that, right?
Sure.
So when that had happened, I just had to like stay focused. I had to maintain like the goal. Like, look, that like it can also be like motivation at the same time, because everybody is already doubting that you're not gonna come back as once you were. Everybody's already doubting the fact that you can't be to the best ability that you were at that time.
And you said it motivates you. That doesn't
Yeah,
seep into you. That it doesn't become a poison for you. You don't
at
start
first
to
it was.
believe into
At
it.
first it was. At first it definitely was. Like, it hurt. And I was like, dang, I have like I was doing all this. I was doing great. I had my stamina was up. My skill moves were up. My decision making was great. And then it all got taken away off of one bad tackle.
Yeah.
So when that had happened, my mindset was like, dang, what's going on? It was also like winter. Everything was cold. I was kind of just like, and I was just like out of the picture, like not doing as much as I should be with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, this sucks. But as I started to get better, as I started to train, as I started to exercise it and like see the process, like in the back of my mind, it's like I have to prove something. Like, I have to prove that I can get to where I need to be. I have to prove that the people that are doubting me right now, they're gonna look back and be like, wow, he actually did something. Like even with this, like I have things on this like other than sports,
Right.
and this shows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
So I bounce back when it comes to me knowing myself. When I say that, I'm saying like I know that I can do much more than people expect.
Mm-hmm.
So my mental process is just going to like push me further, and like the people that doubt me,
Yeah.
it's just going to be like more and more motivation at the end of the day.
Okay, Big Bro.
Yeah. For me, it's a little different because I've never had like a major sports injury,
Okay.
and so like all my injuries, I've been able to like play through or like sit out a day or two and then be back for the next game.
Little cramp here,
Yeah,
something like that.
Like this year, I had like it was some cartilage issue in my wrist and
Okay.
both of them, and so it would hurt a little bit to like push or whatever. And then like I pulled my groin in the middle of the season, and so for things like that, it's more of a just like I'm looking to be, since I play football, I'm looking to be a dog, and so I need people as a leader on the team. I need people to look at me, see that I'm hurt, and then realize that that isn't going to stop me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel as though from like just being a leader and trying to boost morale for the team, the injuries didn't bother me at all. Like it would hurt after practice, but like that's after practice. So
Sure.
I just go home, take care of it, do what I need to do. But during the game, during the practice, I need people to look at me like, oh yeah, he's a dog. Like he's going through it.
Right.
But he not letting it show.
He not letting it show.
Well,
right.
But also, do you think that could like be detrimental to you in the gameplay? Like, say if you were in the game and you had got injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like this past weekend, I had played like almost every minute of each game.
Oh yeah.
And the last 10 minutes, I was hustling back, doing what I need to do to get back, and pull my hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
Now at that point, I could have, and I got back. I did my defensive part, but afterwards it was just like, do I stay in the game for these last 10 minutes just to show that I'm that type of leader, or do I stay, or do I get out, leave from the sideline, and not be a detrimental like thorn in the side of my team? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that can be perceived in two different ways. You can either be like, yeah, that dog, because I want to do the same thing,
Yeah.
but you can also be like a liability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how do you think that you would handle it if it was like in game, like or does it just depend on the severity of it?
Like an in-game injury.
Yeah.
See, I've caught like a really bad cramp, and the trainers or coach would actually pull me.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was up to me, I feel as though I'd try my best to get back in, because I did. Actually, for example, St. Paul's game, it was a defensive drive. I just made a big hit, and then I ended up I felt my toes curling and I couldn't uncurl them. So I knew a cramp was coming, but it wasn't in my foot, it was in my leg. So I ended up like the next play, right before it started, that I caught the cramp in my leg, and I was like limping to make the play. So they pulled me, and so I was doing all I could. Like I stretched everything, water, Pedialyte, all that, and then I came back immediately. The cramp was still like hurting, but I came back and finished the game, and you know how that went. And so, and so realistically, no, I wasn't thinking about, oh, what if this is a bigger injury than what it is. I was just worried about getting back helping the team. So, in a sense, no, I don't really think about it. Probably if it was more severe, then maybe. But at the same time, I also downplay my injuries just to not psych myself up.
No, yeah, and that's another thing. Like when it comes to the mental standpoint, that can like hurt you in the long run physically.
Yeah.
Like, and I know you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like when it comes to that, I get worried because it's like, dang, he's about to like push himself to the limit, and then once he pushes himself to the limit, his body's gonna be like hurting. Like when it came to preseason, we were both like done. It was hot. It was irritating. It was just like it used a lot of energy out of both of us, and we like mentally we're both leaders on our team. People look up to both of us, so we had to push through it. You handled your like physical like aspects in a different way. I did it in a different way, but mentally it was just kind of like straining. Would you say?
Yeah.
All right.
So just think about it. Like right now, so many nuances, so many injuries happen in the league, right? I'm looking at people like Aaron Rodgers, right? I'm looking at people like J.K. Dobbins. I'm looking at folks that, just most recently went down or just coming back. And it's just like the battle mentally is so much more severe than just the physical attribute of it. Like you've got to put yourself in a mindset that you were prior to the injury. And that seems to be a lot more difficult than most. And it seems like, just when I'm from the outside looking in, when I look at like people like Aaron Rodgers, like he's carrying it well. He ain't letting it show. Yeah. But at the same token, it's just like, I don't think he's coming back from this one this year. You know what I'm saying? I think he's just trying to keep a positive mindset to push everybody in the mindset. But, they won't specify, but I feel like it's close to he's got the same thing as JK, right? Which is Achilles or something like that. I had an Achilles tear. You remember that?
Yeah.
It wasn't 6 months. It took me a longer time to recover. And not only that, once I got recovery, even though I was walking somewhat with a boot and walking a little bit like, gingerly like Aaron Rodgers was, the recovery time after that, me to get back to a point where I could run, can kind of feel confident about putting the pressure on it, that was almost like another 5-6 months after the 6 months. So, here's hoping for a quick recovery for all those that have gotten injured. But, mentally, just keep it positive. Keep your mind focused on really rehabilitation. Find some way of motivating yourself to kind of get back to the old you or the you that you know that you can be, and really and pray up, right? Make sure that kind of comes in. But know your body. Know what you got to do in order to kind of get back in order. And I think that nothing will stop you at the end of the day if your mind is strong. I firmly believe that, you can really penetrate any market or get back to where your old self used to be. I know for a fact that my Achilles seemed stronger afterwards. I feel almost like bionic in one foot, for lack of better terms. I think that the new medicine that they have now, or even the way that they're repairing these athletes, yes, they can get them back quicker, but I think that they're also returning them back stronger. So look at that piece of it too. When you get something that's repaired, just like a car or something like that, guess what? Your alternator goes up, you get a brand new alternator. Well, you're good for that for a good certain amount of miles. So it's, so kind of look at it that way. But I just wanted to be able to kind of get your guys' perspective of it, because I'm always interested in how these, some of the athletes that are in professional sports haven't ever had an injury until they got there. So I wonder how much that tears on them. So just something to think about, food for thought. This is Swanee Queen Show, folks. For all the listeners out there, I want to give a special shout out to some of our folks that joined online. Coach Be the Hero. Shout out to you, Bunchy. Shout out to PMD Daniels, one of our listeners from Kentucky. Great to see you this morning. Got some other folks out there that's tapping in. Please make sure that you do so. 410.Swanee_ on Instagram is our live stream. And you can also find our episodes on YouTube at the Swanee Queen Show. So it's good things, man. We got football today. We got the Ravens coming on. Ravens coming on at 8:20 tonight. Night game. We've got like 5 primetime shows. Primetime spots, I think, including London. The Ravens had 5, and that's just always significant anyway, right? Yeah. You got Showcase, Lamar and the best of the rest of the boys over there on these primetime shows. It's just a good look. Also, with me having to work later on, it makes me feel good because I won't miss the game. But I looked at some changes also in NFL. You guys might have heard of one of our old quarterbacks is coming back after not being around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And going to the Browns. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Cool Joe.
Man. All right, for the listeners right now, I will tell you this right now. My father is a huge advocate of Joe Flacco.
I digress. I am a huge Ravens fan, right? Mm-hmm. Since 1996, since before then, before they came, I'm just a huge Baltimore football fan, right? Whether it was the Baltimore Colts or whether we transitioned over to the Canadian football team and we got the Stallions, or in 1996 when we finally inherited the Ravens, right? I'm just a Baltimore fanatic, right? So listen, you gotta respect the guys that brought you the chip, right? Joe Flacco brought us a chip.
Half of your fantasy team was Ravens players for the 3 years after that.
So that's 10 years ago. That's when I didn't know about what you had to do with fantasy football. Nowadays, you might have me with one or two key players. I'll probably get Ravens defense.
And Lamar?
No. Because Lamar's shaky sometimes from fantasy points. You got to just let him win, right? Mm-hmm. I'll get him. I got Zay Flowers, or I'll get the kicker. Something that you got to go 100% with. You can't go wrong with the defense. You can't go wrong with the number one kicker in the league. Mm-hmm. For me, I stay settled with that, and then I go after points. So I'm getting a lot better as it deals with fantasy. Mm-hmm. But I'm a Baltimore fanatic, right?
Yeah.
So I respect all the folks that brought us the chips. I love the Anquan Boldens. I love the Derek Masons, and I respect Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, to me, arguably, was one of the most accurate passers in the league. He just didn't have an O-line at the time, right? Mm-hmm. If he had the O-line that we have right now with Ronnie Stanley, I guarantee you we'd be running around the same. No, we wouldn't. Let me die. No, we wouldn't. Listeners, I know you guys are about to chime in and cuss me out, but all right, we may not be in the same winning percentage per se. We might not be at 8-3, but I guarantee we'll be above 500. He still was a great pocket passer, a traditional pocket passer, just didn't have any legs and he couldn't slide, right? So unfortunately,
that's like all the qualities that you need
as a today's quarterback, right? But I still respect the man. Shout out to Joe Flacco. I'm sorry that you had to go over to the dog pound, but I'm glad you found a home. I'm glad you found a job. That just means you still have some stuff in the tank. And wouldn't it be cute if we had to see the Browns again, and it would be Flacco against Lamar? And of course, I'm going with the Ravens and Lamar. I really want to see him stomp a mud hole in them at that point, but it still would be good for the storyline. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So when I see guys like that coming back, I say to myself, oh, that's good. You know what I'm saying? He got through it, didn't damage him too bad. He went to the Broncos, he went to Philly, he went to the Jets, and now he's back in Baltimore. Hopefully that didn't damage his mental health too much. But then I say to myself, dang, I wonder what Colin Kaepernick is doing and why he's not.
I mean, he's making movies.
He's making movies, but he's also trying to make his move back to the NFL. There's been some talk about him getting in and, doing some practice workouts and things of that sort. And I still find him to be a great quarterback. It's just unfortunate the circumstance that, it seems like there's a wall up of some sort, Do you find, that's a good transition too, do you guys find that in your tenure at high school sports or even what you're doing, do you find that sometimes there's a wall?
What do you mean by a wall?
Yeah. So there's a blockage of someone, maybe the position you play, maybe there's someone, you're from let me perfect example. You got injured, right? At the tail end of your injury, now this is an injury that you had, but you've been the main guy for a league that you've been in for the last 3 years. Yeah. Barring injury, you come back now, the league has put you in kind of like a buffer league. Well, just something to be able to build back up to make sure that you're 100%. But knowing you're the incumbent, knowing you've done what you've done, does that make you feel like there's a type of wall up?
Yeah, I think
a hate wall. You know what I'm saying? Like where there's a little bit of hateration, maybe there's some type of.
If it's a hate wall, not really.
Okay.
I think the whole me moving down type of thing was out of the goodness of their heart. At the end of the day,
yeah.
And you just see where I was, but also it was just a little shaky. But again,
half and half.
Yeah, it was up and down.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I feel like it's not really especially not in high school.
Yeah.
Like me getting back to where I was, I feel like I was just like it was like we were put out there to do our best, do what we can, play the game that we were taught from the high school's perspective.
Okay.
Because high school and clever, like day and night, really.
Sure.
So, I mean, I really wouldn't say there's a wall.
Okay.
I think that wall is kind of like something that I just need to like overcome.
Okay.
Because again, it's just like a little adversity, like a little setback, so you can like build yourself up. There's a saying. It's like one step back is like 2 steps forward, something like that.
It seems like I take every time I take 1 step forward, it makes me feel like I take 2 steps back or something like that.
Yeah.
But opposite for you.
Yeah, it's just reversed. Like if I take 1 step back, I feel like I take 2 steps forward, and I feel like that should be a lot. I feel like that should be a saying itself because a lot of people have a lot of setbacks. Setbacks happen in life.
Yep.
There's more setbacks than there is positivity, really.
Sure.
But it's just how like what you do with the setbacks.
It's funny that you say that because most of my life and different jobs, things of that sort, just to transition for a moment, a lot of things that I've had, and it's not been sports related, but jobs that I've had, every time that I've taken a moment to reflect, kind of get out of that job or setback financially, I've always been mentally positive because I know what it meant. If I took a setback, that means very soon I'm about to make 2 steps forward. And it's almost happened like that throughout my life. So I get excited about the setbacks. It makes me feel like it's like, oh, you know, when you're in a game and you miss at the last minute and then it takes you back to the checkpoint. Doesn't take you all the way back to the beginning of the game, but it takes you back to the checkpoint. Like that's where I am. I feel like that's a check for myself to make sure that I sharpen up, tighten up, whatever I got to do just to make sure that I make those 2 steps forward. So, go ahead.
And I can definitely like relate to that, especially with the whole soccer situation. I took my step back, and now pretty much my steps forward are my steps in front of me are seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I have the option to go here, have the option to go there, and I also have the things that I need. Talking about recruitment aspect.
Gotcha.
Like I have the people that I'm talking to.
Sure.
I have the people that I want to communicate with, but I also have, the option to go back to where I once started. Now, I think that's also a great thing because once you take a step back, you can see everything so clearly.
Yep. Absolutely.
You can see like things going like whether it's going good in the place that I was, whether it's going bad, whether this new opportunity could be well for me, whether if I stay where I am, if I can still get the same love and like aspiration,
gotcha,
that I got beforehand. I think the step back that I've taken so far has helped me mentally. Like at first I was hurt. I'll be 100% honest, I was hurt, but now that I've taken that step and now I can see everything so clearly.
Yep.
Now I'm kind of like at ease.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, what did Ron used to say? Child time?
Man time.
Man time.
Man time.
It's
what
just
does that
like,
mean? Where you just got it?
It's just like chill out. Like it's just like a chill type of thing.
Yeah. It's something when you say, when I think about that wall, I feel like we all get dealt or have to face those proverbial walls. It's one of those things that just happens, but how you handle it is everything, right? It's like, okay, I see the wall, here's an obstacle, here's an adversity, for lack of better terms. Now, do I go through it? Do I go over it, which I'm trying to climb that wall and get over it, or do I go around it, meaning do I avoid it altogether, right? But again, it becomes, I think, how you handle it what kind of manifests or dictates exactly, one, who you are as a person, but then two, the results and what comes out after that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got some good accolades there, Rel. This week, and correct me if I'm wrong, you got all conference accolades for football?
Yes, sir.
All right, congratulations, man. That's an awesome job. You are you taking it to the next level? Are you trying to go college with it, or?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well,
I'm still in the middle of the
shopping around
process. Yeah.
That's
I have one opportunity I was granted.
Okay.
But recruitment's still open.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to keep those. One time, somebody told me something that's always stayed with me. The last one in wins, right? Which means gather all your information. Be the last one to come up with the decision. Don't be so fast to rush out and talk about who's got this, that, and the other. But just collect all your data, kind of have it in front of you as a canvas, and then make your decision. But it's a theme in sales that they utilize. The last one in wins. You be the last one in to come with an offer, you'll win it, type of deal. So that's awesome, man. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
So a lot of changes in sports, a lot of things as it deals with mental health and kind of staying the course. Again, we just talked about, Aaron Rodgers and their injuries and things of that sort. And it's synonymous with not necessarily injury, but just change itself. If you guys are familiar with Joshua Dobbs, he's one of the quarterbacks there. Just went from Arizona as a backup to now a starter for the Vikings. But just location-wise, right? The fact that you got a job is probably trumping everything, but at the same token, mentally it's got to be strainful to switch up teams, switch up people, and things of that sort.
I know the first game he played where he was starting, he said he didn't know any of his teammates' names.
Wow.
So he had to learn it along with the plays, and then like go out and then present himself on national TV.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where I saw in him, it's so fitting for today, is that his biggest fan, and you can see it up in the stands, is his dad, right? As we talk about, fatherhood and sports and entertainment. When I saw that, I was just so infectious. He's almost like a aerodynamic robotics major or something like that. It's something crazy, but, his love and passion for football has put him there, and his father's almost at every game, and just talking about handling adversity, talking about changing, and just what a blessing it is to have that support system with him the whole time. So just something to think about, just added conversation, man, about making sure we stay in tune with our mental health and make sure we're staying on top of it. Sway?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, we see all these famous people on TV and it's this whole big thing. Like, say if people see Lamar Jackson, it's like, whoa, he's a celebrity. But also, we have to, like, realize that they're human.
Yep.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like a lot of people, like, take it in, like, they're, like, mythical creatures. Like, no. They grew up the same way we grew up. Some people grew up in the same areas that we grew up in.
That's right.
To get to get to the place that they were.
That's right.
Now, was that mentally straining for them? 100%.
Yep.
Now, even though they're at that stage, now it's time to keep that stage. And it's just going to, like, progressively get, like a little bit of, like, mental anguish.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's hard to be at that stage.
Sure.
First of all, it's hard to get there, but it's harder to be there.
Yep.
Like,
maintain.
the NBA is probably one of the worst ones to get there.
Sure.
Plus, like, the soccer industry, because, like, first team, second team. Then on top of, like, getting to the first team, you also have, like club teams. Like, U17 we have club teams, but across seas it's much different.
Much different.
And it's much harder to get there. But I think we just have to, like, realize and hone in on the fact that these are also humans at the end of the day. Like, whoever gets famous, whoever does this, they went through the same struggles that we went through.
That's right.
And just seeing them out there, they're not just like a piece of meat or anything. They're not just like a piece of anything that we can just like hone to. Like, they're also humans. They want their peace. They want their love at the end of the day.
No, go ahead, bro.
I feel like it's also, like, along with being, like, getting to the pro leagues or whatever, it's also stressful in, like, high school or whatever, because, like, if you're a really good athlete and, like, people in your city or town know that you're a good athlete, everyone's looking at you to make it, like, to the pros, and, like, everyone's all, like, trying to, like, punch their ticket before you even get there, and it's just, like, chill.
Yeah.
Chill.
Like, that's, like, I feel like putting a lot of stress on, like, young people to, like, people are depending on them, when realistically these are, like, grown adults or, like, people that don't need to be depending on you.
Right. Yeah.
Guys, we're talking about mental health. We appreciate all our visitors today. Thank you, Rel, for joining us today, man. Great conversation. Big Sway, Little Sway. This is the SWAYNEE Queen Show, 10:10 a.m. radio, guys. WOLB Baltimore every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. Go Ravens.
The new 1010 WOLB with talk in the day and soul at night. Are you ready to start your own radio show and or a podcast? Do you have a business, product, and or service that you need help reaching to Black America?